Joe Biden is diversifying the war cabinet, the war machine. And the mainstream media is helping him with the propaganda. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, Jack. Here's the deal. This is Joe Biden. But Joe Biden is set to diversify the war cabinet or the war machine. Pretty much what's happening is Joe Biden is now making the argument that, oh my God, we are diversifying my cabinet. So guess what? We're meeting the identity issue. I don't know if you know this, Joe, but it doesn't matter where you throw the bomb. Doesn't matter who drops it. The point is you dropped it. Now, there's two parts I'd like to cover about this, and it's the war and the domestic policy. Okay, so Joe Biden trying to be all Mr. Diverse and crap. Now having this thing where he's like, oh my God, if I pick black people and brown people to be in my cabinet and trans people and gay people, well, guess what? Nobody's going to say anything. I could have the most horrendous policies, the most terrible policies, and oh, look, a black man did it. An Asian woman did it. Yes. Oh, yes. Well, okay, hold off there. Okay? So Americans don't really care. Now, look. So, hold on. They don't really care about oh my God, you got a black guy in there. Whoo! Thank God, Joe. Because we've had a black president and nothing happened under him. Except a whole lot of hell. And so that's the first thing. Number two, well, and to continue on that, we do care. We want representation. Okay, great. People that look like us are in the cabinet, in the administration. Okay, great. That's awesome, Joe. But here's the biggest problem you've got. What is it? 52% of black people, African Americans, rely on social and welfare programs here in the United States. So Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, WIC, SNAP, you know the food stamps and all of that. They rely on all of those. They rely on programs like that because they're in a lot of the levels of poverty that you and your corporatist friends have caused, Joe Biden. And, it's one thing to say, oh, these people are in the cabinet, so be happy that you have representation. And it's another thing to say, oh, well, hey, these black men are in your cabinet, are in his cabinet. So don't give a shit if they blow up another country. Don't give a shit if they're allowing the fossil fuel industry to run rampant and to drill in your area and then cause diseases like lung disease and others. And anyway, don't make a big deal about that because he's black. It's one thing to say, hey, you have representation, be happy. And it's another thing to say, shut the hell up, let me do whatever I want. I'm going to put a black man in there. And just because he's black, you can't criticize his policies. What a stupid idea. Now, look, I figure maybe I'm not the best person to say that. Okay. So maybe there are people saying, oh, Jason, you're being racist. African Americans actually don't think that. All right. How about we hear from Brianna Joy Gray when she was on Rising? Okay, let's hear from Brianna Joy Gray, and let's see what she had to say.
Every Democrat understands that representation isn't everything when the person has an R next to their name, when it's someone like Clarence Thomas, right? Or Candace Owens. But for some reason, there's a great deal of myopia when it comes to people on, quote unquote, our side of the aisle. And particularly in this case, I've been noticing how this rollout has happened. And it really does feel like the emphasis on the identity characteristics of these candidates is being very purposefully wielded to cut off any criticism. You saw this, I believe I might have mentioned this last time I was on with Cedric Richardson, where there was a New York Times reporter saying, oh, I don't know if it's a good idea for the Sunrise Movement to be calling this guy out for the terrible environmental record he has in his district because he's black. And that's not a kind of politics that we should be comfortable playing.
Okay, so there you go. There you go. Perfectly said. Oh my God. The Democrats always complain when it's Candace Owens who says that African Americans cause their own crime and they protect their own criminals and white people have no crime. They have a problem with her. They have a problem with Clarence Thomas, with his policies, and that he raped a woman or sexually harassed a woman, Anita Hill, and a couple of other women. They have a problem with that, and they make a big deal. And they say, hey, just because he's black, it doesn't matter. Look what he did. Oh, that's a problem. But then when you have a person like Cedric Richmond. Now, she said Cedric Richardson. It's Cedric Richmond. Whenever you have someone like him who is black, who has done terrible things for the environment, and I went over those policies that he has supported. The fact that his district is one of the most polluted in the entire United States and has people dying from a couple of diseases like lung disease and heart disease and other kinds of health failures. And that's his fault because he took probably the most money from the fossil fuel industry. So it doesn't matter about his policies. It doesn't matter that he's hurting the environment. It's fine. Let him do that because he's black. Again, it's this hypocritical thing that she said. Hey, we're right on the issues when it's a right-winger, but when it's someone in our party, when it's someone on our side of the aisle, shh, don't say anything. Don't say shit. What the fuck are you doing? Come on. Oh, okay, so now that's a problem. Now that's a problem. No, that's your problem. Okay, that's the problem. Is that you're actually saying, oh, well, hey, yeah, hey, we don't really, we know he's bad on policy, but you can't criticize him. You can't because he's black. No, it doesn't matter if he's black. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't give a flying fuck. I'm going to criticize you when you have terrible environmental policies and you're possibly going to kill us all and put us behind where we need to be. Because we now have, a decade to fix our crap, and you're going to put this guy in your cabinet? I'm sorry, no. Hell no. We're going to criticize you. I don't care if you're black or not. I don't care if you're white or not. I don't care if you're Hispanic or not. We're going to criticize you because of your stupid-ass policies. So this whole, oh my God, at least he's putting black people in there. That's really nice. Yeah, not when they're supporting what a white man would support. Killing you, leaving you in debt because you don't have health care, letting the war industry drop bombs in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Yemen, Sudan, Syria, Libya, and everywhere else. They're going to support that. So guess what? The black person's going to support that too. So it doesn't matter if we have a black person in there. Now, what about Mira Tandon? I'm going to get to videos about Mira Tandon in the next few days. Because Mira Tandon's a disaster. She's a disastrous pick for him. And I'm going to get to what cabinet position she's probably going to have and all of that. And how Republicans are freaking out. For dumb reasons. Not for real good reasons, but for dumb reasons. Okay. Mira Tandon. We'll get into some of it right now. She's the president and CEO of and the head of the American Center for American Progress, CAP, and that is a centrist democratic think tank which basically advocates for war, endless illegal war, senseless wars. She advocates for cutting Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, and here's Brianna Joy Gray putting it perfectly. Yet again.
Mira Tandon is on the record of repeatedly saying that, quote unquote, entitlements are on the table for cuts, specifically Social Security and Medicare. And given that, for example, Black Americans rely overwhelmingly, disproportionately rather, on Social Security in old age. 50% of Black Americans rely on Social Security for 90% of their retirement income or more. It's a little hypocritical to be speaking in that way and representing yourself as in the best interest of people of color when, in fact, your stated policy positions are to the contrary.
I love that. I love what she said there. Just because you're a woman of color, just because you're an Asian, doesn't mean that you're actually good on the issues. Again, this is what we're talking about with Cedric Richmond, Lloyd Benson, and everybody else that Joe Biden has picked. This whole diversity issue is bad because here's the deal. I can't help it. Okay, get used to it. Next 4 years, or 5 or 8, whatever. Hey, you never know. Hey, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Okay. Probably get old. They'll probably change it up. Hopefully, he's going to talk a lot as president, or maybe they'll keep him in the bunker of the White House like Trump. Anyway, so she's right there. Just because you're a woman of color, just because you're an Asian, doesn't mean that you are a strong supporter of women of color, of men of color, of children of color. It doesn't matter. The fact that you supported cutting Social Security when your mom was on Social Security when you were a youth, it doesn't matter. It's a hypocritical thing for you to say, I was there for black people, so therefore I'm the best for black people, and you have to help me get appointed and make sure my nomination goes through. And Joe Biden is saying, hey, I don't care about Social Security. I want to cut it. He literally said that in the 90s. He said it in the 2000s, and he couldn't defend his record in the debates. So again, you saying that you're going to cut Social Security, Mira. You saying that you support endless wars, Mira. You supporting Wall Street policy, Mira. And tax breaks for the rich, Mira. Does, as my phone falls, not actually suggest that you're there for black people. Let me fix this here. Getting a little too excited. It doesn't mean that you're there for black people. It does not. It means that you're a hypocrite. It means that your policies are not actually what helps black people. It actually is what hurts black people. It causes crime. It causes poverty. It causes death, economic destruction, starvation. That's what it causes. So for you to sit there and say that Joe Biden is picking all these people and it's good that we have Asian, black, Hispanic, trans, gay, lesbian representation, you need to realize that you need to get your head out of your ass and say, okay, fine, we got the people that look like us, but what the hell are they going to do for us? And the answer is nothing, because all they're going to do is support the policies that put Trump there in the first place, because you have the architect who put Trump there in the first place. That's your problem. That's your problem, okay? So, again, this is just him diversifying the cabinet, but really, really awfully. And I'm going to go over in part 2 of this video of how he's diversifying the war machine, and it's gonna be fun.